and welcome to the Moffitt Method Podcast, where we dive deep into the world of strength and conditioning and pushing the limits of athletic performance with your host, Joe Ryan. Each week, we'll explore the strategies, tactics, and innovations that make athletes stronger, coaches smarter, and the sports we love even more thrilling. Whether you're a coach, an athlete, or just a fan of the game, we've got something for you. We'll be talking to some of the brightest minds in the industry, sharing their insights and experiences, and uncovering the methods behind the madness of high-performance sports. So tune in, turn up the volume, and let's get ready to learn, grow, and be inspired. This is the Moffitt Method Podcast.
Today we have Coach Brian Van Vliet, or as his athletes know him, Coach V. Coach is the Director of Strength and Conditioning at Innsworth High School in Nashville, Tennessee. He's had stops previously at Lipscomb Academy, McCallie School, and University of Tennessee. With over 25 years of elite coaching experience across the collegiate and high school landscapes, he's trained 47 NFL draft picks, 5 Mr. Football Award winners, 1 Mr. Basketball Award winner, and 3 Miss Basketball Award winners. He's a massive advocate for unified school-wide strength and conditioning programs from grades K through 12. He focuses on building physical literacy at an early age so high schoolers report with a rock-solid movement pattern rather than coaches wishing they had learned the basics earlier. He is also a vocal proponent of having dedicated full-time strength and conditioning professionals in schools rather than relying on part-time sport coaches. He's a huge music fan of the Foo Fighters and Pearl Jam, sitting securely at the top of his favorite band list. Please help me by welcoming Coach Van Vliet to the podcast. We are very excited today to have Coach with us. We know that Coach has a long history with Coach Moffitt, who's our founder of the Moffitt Method and the Moffitt Method Podcast. So, Coach, welcome in. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm good. I appreciate you having me. Coach Moffitt's the best. I owe him a lot. So I definitely appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. I know we've been trying to schedule it for a little while, being busy and kind of doing our thing, going through spring and the off season, and first week of summer's kind of in the book. So we're able to kind of find a Friday where everybody's off and we can make this thing happen.
Yeah. Summer's crazy, man.
Oh, I bet. How is first week was good? Everything's going good?
First week was good. We finished up our second week. It's been really good. Our kids are strong. I was happy with. We recently renovated our weight room, and so we had to move our weight room to a small, really equipment type locker room for half the year last year, and or last school year. And so I was happy with the strength we kept and continue to get stronger. I was afraid with a smaller weight room, less equipment, we'd get a lot weaker, but our kids did a really good job.
And it's funny how some of that happens, right? It kind of brings you back to I guess the way I look at it as it kind of brings you back to the appreciation of what you have,
Oh my gosh, yes.
And kind of drives into the kids look, this is what you had to go through, and a little bit of adversity is good every now and then, where they can kind of get back to the roots of, having near nothing.
Yes.
We kind of went through a similar thing early in January. Our new room got installed. Well, we had sold the racks for the old room.
Yeah.
Back in December, so we had nothing in there, and this room was a little bit late, so we had to use squat stands for about the first 3 weeks and just do a lot of stuff from the ground. We did a lot of cleans, a lot of deadlifts, did everything from the ground, a lot of floor presses, things like that. So
Same
I know
here.
exactly how it is.
We used squat stands, did a lot of stuff from the ground. Your room looks great, by the way. I love it.
Oh, Coach, I appreciate it. Long time coming. Same with yours. I
appreciate
that's a ton of space y'all have in there, huh?
We got a lot of space. So we deal with every single student at the school, regardless if they play a sport. It's part of academic curriculum. And so this space allows us to really utilize the room How we split it up is we have an orange fitness program and a black fitness program and a freshman fitness program. And so the orange is our colors are orange and black. So the orange is our athletes. So within that, we have a boys orange program, a girls orange program. The black fitness is our students that don't participate in sports. And then the freshman fitness program is kind of a combination of the two, right? The black fitness program, we still lift with them. We don't do a lot of the multi-joint movements, power movements, but we add more cardio for them because they don't participate in a sport. And so we want to make sure they're getting cardio in. But that being said, the space allows us to not have to say, okay, Monday Black Fitness is in the auxiliary gyms while Orange Fitness is in the weight room, right? We
Right.
can have everybody up there at once.
That's pretty amazing. And that's a whole curriculum wrote, or
Yes,
just,
yes, 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 yes.
I mean, that's some top level stuff right there, man. That's because we have a basic weightlifting for our kids that
Mm.
basically just, if they're not in ROTC, if they're not in a sport or regular PE, they go basic weightlifting where they can just casually lift. And the guy who does it is a former strength coach and does a really,
Okay.
really good job with those kids and allows them to, kind of build upon what they'll do everything from deadlift to they'll power clean, they'll hang clean, they'll squat, they'll be, they do all the normal stuff that you would go
Yeah.
through, but nothing like that. That's some if my admin hears about this, we might be onto something new.
Well, I mean, the school, when it was created, they did an unbelievable job with what holistically the student needed to be successful, right? To be successful in school and in life, and fitness was part of it. And so we have 8 fitness instructors on staff. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of organization to make that work. So yeah, the school did an unbelievable job when they
Yeah,
created the high school.
a lot of communication going on there because you are K through 12, right?
We're K through 12, but our campuses are separate.
Okay.
So our K through 8 is about uh, 20 minutes away. So we don't see the lower school very much.
Hmm.
But probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I was able to hire a strength coach at the lower school to start implementing sixth through eighth grade some of our foundational movements. So they have a weight room. When we renovated our weight room, we were able to give them all our old equipment, which is great equipment, power lift racks, all of the above, dumbbells, kettlebells, everything they could need. His name's Jordan Rowley. He was an intern at Georgia, so
Hmm.
he's a really good strength coach, and he's done a phenomenal job at the lower school. Like,
Man, that's a
yes,
dream, right? I mean,
oh
they
my
come in kind of
gosh,
ready for you, right?
yes, and you can starting probably last year, we really could tell a difference, right?
Yeah.
Previously, our kids coming in, they couldn't even do a push up, right? And now our kids coming in from the lower school, right? They know the stuff, they know the terminology, they know the movements, how to hinge, things like that. And so, yeah, he's done a phenomenal job.
Man, I wish everybody in the country would do something like that.
Yeah,
I'm in the spot where we got the summertime where we can kind of get these younger kids in our feeder schools in, and if they're lucky enough, we've had kids that are here 7 years with us because they start in sixth grade or going
makes a
into sixth
difference.
grade. And
Makes a
it's
difference.
tremendous. And I love keeping track of one of my favorite things to do, and I don't know how y'all do it. When I get their measurables going in as sixth graders, I
Yeah,
love giving it to them when they're seniors. Like, do you see how far you've come? Like,
yeah.
you were a 4'11", 100-pound shrimp 7 years ago. Now look
Hmm.
at you. You're going to here, or going to play football here, or going to
Yeah,
track, or whatever it is. So that's awesome, man. I wish
yeah.
that's
That's
definitely a luxury to have.
That's fun to do. We test the high school 3 times a year with their height, weight, and body comp, and
Hmm.
so or their body fat percentage. So it's neat. We'll have a kid. A few years ago, I had a kid who was a sophomore, and he said, "Hey, Coach V, I know you told me to just trust the process, and I'd start putting on weight, but when do you think it's going to happen? So I was able to pull up his freshman year, height, weight, and body fat. And I was like, look, man, you've put on like 30 pounds of muscle, man. It's
Yeah.
just a slow process, right? And you don't immediately see it. And these kids are used to immediate, like
Oh,
instant gratification, right? And so
absolutely.
it's hard for them to see the progress when it's slow.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not till they get older where you wake up one morning and what the hell happened? I gained all this weight and my
I
pants
know,
fell.
right?
This shirt used to fit me as my favorite shirt. Now I don't have it anymore.
I know.
So, well, that's awesome. Well, look, I know that, our listeners have heard your bio, but for me, there's nothing better than hearing it from the horse's mouth. So, tell us a little bit about where you've been, how you got to where you're at, and,
Yeah.
where we're going.
So, pretty much since sixth grade, I knew I was a decent athlete, not the best by any means. I always had to work hard, and so I got into weightlifting. And I had always heard Coach Moffitt, right, because he went to my high school. I never went to high school with him. He's older than me, but I would always hear stories about Coach Moffitt because he was doing strength and conditioning then. And so I got into weightlifting, and that was just a tool to use to kind of give me an edge, right? Because, like I said, I wasn't definitely not the best athlete, but I ended up falling in love with that, and in sixth grade knew, man, I want to do this for a living, right?
Right.
And so when I graduated, instead of trying to pursue um, college sports, I went to Tennessee because Coach Moffitt was there. I had learned about Coach Hatch. I knew they did the Hatch program. I wanted to learn more about that. And so I basically just walked on the weight room staff, right? And so I spent my time there, learning. Coach Moffitt had recently left to go to Miami, I think, and then to LSU. But I learned under some phenomenal strength coaches, Coach Long, who trained with Coach Hatch, Eric Ciano, who's with Jacksonville now, Coach Stewart at Delaware, Roderick Moore, who's with Vald now, but he's been a career strength coach. I learned from some of the best. I'm as I get
Yeah.
older, I just realize how lucky I was, right? Um, and so I ended up doing that. They ended up hiring me on before I even graduated. And so I spent, I don't know, 6 or 7 years there, um, and got an opportunity to interview at a uh, day boarding school in Chattanooga, the Macaulay School. I turned the interview down at first. One of our Tennessee's former strength coach, assistant strength coach, Jason Elkin was there, and he was leaving to start his own business. And I turned it down at first, and the associate head strength coach pulled me aside and told me how dumb I was to turn down an interview. I was like, all right. And so I called them back, and luckily they interviewed me. And I'm just a public school guy. I didn't know high schools like that existed, right? So I pulled on
Right.
campus, and it's like this college, right? Unbelievable facilities. So luckily, I ended up getting the job, and I ended up falling in love with high school. Going into it, I thought I'll do this for 2 years, jump back into college. And when that came around, I had opportunities to jump back into college. I wanted to stay in high school. It's just the age of the kid. They're babies when they're freshmen, and they're on the cusp of being a man or a woman when they're seniors, and that's just a lot of opportunity for me to be a positive Christian influence in their life. And it's just neat. Not that you can't do that in college, but it's more of a business, and it's more of a fast pace. It's more of a business transaction, to where in high school it's more relationship.
Yeah. No, and I completely agree. I tell, just like you, I'm sure, I get interns all the time
Hmm.
from our local school, our local colleges, and their dream is, oh, I want to be, I want to go to this D1 school and I want to be this.
Yeah.
And I'll support them in any way, but I'm
Hmm.
like, whether it's male or female, I'm like, look, high school is great. Like
It is.
you get to truly see. And again, I GA'd in college and haven't been there in 15 years and see how it's changed. But I hear all the stories from people I know, and it's like you're still in the last bit of the purity of what sport
Last
is,
bit.
in
Yep.
my opinion. It's just I love seeing the kids Friday night, Tuesday night, whatever it is, and they're playing for their community and they're wearing their school colors and they truly
Mm-hmm.
fall in love with it and fall in love with the process. That one of my favorite things to see is when it clicks, when the process clicks of like, this is really important, strength and conditioning part of it. It's like, to me, that's the paycheck. That's
It
what it's
is.
like. This is why I do this.
It is.
So I
It is.
completely agree with you with that.
Yep. Yep.
So, coming from, your time at Tennessee and, you spent your 6, 7 years there, jumping into high school, what's the biggest shock you had?
Really, the first shock I had was the size of the kids, right? So you get used to seeing, we'd have a recruit come in at Tennessee and they were like 6'2" or whatever. And you're like, man, it's kind of small, but maybe we can do something. If you get somebody 6'2" in high school, you're like, man, he's giant. And
Yeah, you're the
so,
guy. Like,
yeah, you're the
you're the
guy.
guy.
And so the size of it. And then, learning to really focus on the basics. When I
Yeah,
first got into high school, I was trying to really do too much because, at Tennessee at the time, we were getting the best athletes around, right? And we could do a lot of cool stuff with them. Um, but in high school, I really realized, hey, fundamentals win. Like
oh yeah,
let's be great at the basics, and that's where we get our most bang for our buck. And so that really taught me to be um, mindful of, hey, let's double down on our basics and be great at that, and that's going to pay dividends.
isn't it funny how you hear it all the time? Like our professional coaches or your, high level collegiate coaches are always like, we got to get back to the basics. Well,
Yeah.
why ever leave them? Like,
Why ever leave them?
why ever get? And I'm the same as you with the philosophy. It's we're going to hammer home the basics. I don't care if you get bored. When we're good and we're successful, you're going to thank me later.
Yes, and it is repetitive, but the better you get at the movements, the more benefit you get out of them.
Yeah.
And it's important to do them. I mean, the
Yep.
best in football, the best blocking and tackling team, all pretty much always wins the game, right? It's fundamental.
Right.
Doing those movements 1,000 times, like shooting a free throw, right? How do you get better at shooting a free throw? Well, you shoot a free throw, right?
Oh, we hammer our basketball team all the time. We've been in the semis 2 years in a row, and we're like, guys, if we make free throws, we're state champions.
Yeah,
Like,
we win. Yeah.
and our coaches do a great job, but do y'all care enough about the free
Hmm.
throws?
Yeah.
Is it, my kids hate when we're going through our GPP block because it's
Hmm.
just so boring for them. And I'm like, y'all think it's boring now, but when we get to the liftathon at the end of the summer, you're going to appreciate that we did all these complexes for this long.
Yeah, winning's fun, and so
Oh yeah.
you gotta go through the boring to
Yep.
to win.
Absolutely. So, you made a little shift. You got to make it a little more. It's not as and you see it on social media these days a lot. I'm sure everybody across the country deals with the same thing. Kids come in like, Coach, why aren't we doing this? Or why aren't we,
Yeah.
why is this XYZ athlete, using this or standing on this Bosa bar or
Yeah,
using
yeah,
this
yeah.
tsunami bar? Dude, you can't even do all the reps and sets the right way how I expect you to do them. We're not using a tsunami bar.
100%,
So you see some of that,
yeah.
and you got to hammer home, making it, but still kind of making it fresh, right, for the
Yep.
athletes. Of like, I'm real big on we're getting the same movement in a different way.
In a
We
different
just
way.
we just got lat pull downs machines for the first time. So yeah, okay, this week we're doing chin ups. Next week we might do close grip lat pull downs.
Yeah.
Guess what? I'm still getting the same thing out of you, just in a different way, and it keeps
Different
it
way.
fresh for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So you've seen some of, a little bit of everything, right? In high school, you've had a lot of, and if I'm not mistaken, 47 NFL draft picks,
Some
roughly.
something
I
like
know you, I
that.
know you, I know you
Uh,
don't keep, I know you don't keep track of
yeah.
it, but I mean,
I
that's a
hadn't kept
lot of,
track in the years.
yeah,
A
that's
lot of
a,
those were from coaching in college, and
yeah,
a lot of them, were from high school. And
yeah,
yeah, it's neat. The What you see out of those kids that make it is their consistency, right? They bring their best every day, right? And their best is going to be different from day to day, but they bring it and they're focused on the task at hand, and they come in and get after it, man, every day. And
yeah.
consistency is king, right? You can't have really any success without consistency. I mean, you have to be consistent with your attitude, your effort, because those are the things that you can control.
Right. And that's one of the, I mean, talking about that, that's one of the things, I guess, the older I've gotten in this profession myself, and I know everybody goes through it, is being consistent with the kids as well on our end. Like our kids
Yes.
know on this day we're going to get this, on this day, especially when we get in season, is more regiment based. It's
Hmm.
all right. We know on Tuesdays, we're front squat, back squat.
Yep.
We know on Thursdays we're cleaning from the ground. We know on Saturdays, we're floor pressing, we're might be
Hmm.
deadlifting, or we might, but same thing with those athletes. We have a kid from us who, God willing, he gets drafted next year, and it'll be the second one we've had in our school history. But
Wow.
same, what you just said was him, very consistent. You know what you were going to get from him. Kept his head down. He was quiet. He worked hard. He brought
Hmm.
it every day. And that's exactly, for any young athletes listening, if you're trying to make it to that level, that's exactly what it needs to be. Is the second you step in is just consistent, keep your head down, do the right thing.
Yeah, and it even transitions not into athletics. Some of our hardest working kids that were like that didn't even go off to play college. Some of them did, and that's where their journey ended. But they're wildly successful in whatever area they choose to go into, because they're used to being consistent. They're used to keeping their head down and working. They're used to figuring things out. The consistency doesn't shock them, right? They know sometimes it's going to be boring, and they just have to power through it. And so it even transitions into their everyday life. And so it's an important lesson for kids to learn.
Yeah, those kids that some of my favorite ones are the ones that decide to make a career out of serving our country. And I
Oh
love
my
that,
gosh,
because
yes.
they're the ones that you're like, man, I wish you were, that 6'2" kid, because you would have definitely been able to
Yep.
continue, but your higher service, higher power, higher calling now of serving the country. Those are the ones where I'm like, you might not think you made it, but you know what, you made it.
Two of my favorite kids, some of my favorite kids I ever coached, are in the military now. I coached them at Macaulay. They were best friends, still best friends, but they're like sons to me. One's in the Air Force; he's a fighter pilot. One's, I do believe, a Green Beret. But yeah, I mean, they kept their head down and busted their butt every day, and they're wildly successful in what they do.
Yeah, and I love keeping in. I try and just same as you. I try keeping in contact with a lot of these kids, and because to me, again, that's more seeing them become successful, have families, have careers, all that. That's what really. I mean,
It's
it may
awesome.
nobody. Everybody's going to complain about what they get paid and how much we work and all that. Everybody,
Hmm.
there's not a person in this profession out there that doesn't want to make more money, but that's the
Hmm.
stuff where it's like, all right, this is what's important, and this is kind of keeps you grounded, right? It kind
It
of keeps you
does,
like,
man. It does. I
and I
mean, and
love
it's,
talking to those kids.
oh my gosh, it's great. I was so honored years ago. I don't know if you can see, where is it? That flag right there.
Yes, sir.
One of the boys I was talking to you about, he flew that flag in a mission, in honor of me, and gave it to me. And I was like, man, that's
That's
so humbling,
that gives me chills
right?
just
Yeah,
thinking about it.
right.
Yeah, like that's
And so it's one of my favorite gifts I've ever gotten. I mean, it's
yeah.
just, why, I'm thinking, why are you thinking about me, right? You're in a war zone. And it just kind of shows that the impact a coach can have on a kid's life. And it's very humbling.
And that's Coach, I think. And I've said this before on the podcast where I'm kind of that middle ground, I guess, where I'm, not so, I don't have the years that you have. I don't have the years that Coach Moffitt has. I don't have the years that somebody, but I'm also not coming right out of school where it's, this is the book and this is the science and this, the building relationships. And this is really for you young coaches listening. That's going to take you farther in this profession than anything else, is building the relationships with the people you work with, your peers, with people around the country. I learn more from just picking up the phone and calling people and just because we're all going through the same stuff right now. It's summertime. Like, hey, how did your kids react today? How did your kids, how are they feeling on, June 5th? How are they feeling, day one? How did they feel, going into 4th of July? Like, that's what's going to take you farther, building those relationships, not only with your peers, but with your athlete or with your athletes as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, coaching is all about loving the kids, right? And if you don't love them and you don't care about them, they're not going to care about you. They're not going to care about what you say. And so you got to truly show them that you have their best interests at heart. And once they realize that, they'll run through a wall for you.
Absolutely. One of my favorite things, like I was telling you, I still coach a position, which is, it's by choice and I love doing it. But I do night before, Thursday night or Wednesday night, whatever it is, we do dinners at the house with my running back group, and they want the same thing every time. It's just, Coach, can you grill burgers? And that's, guys, if that's what y'all want, I mean, I get it. Like, and it kind of, last year we went on a 6-game winning streak. And it just kind of became, because it used to be we would go out to eat and we do this. And then, that week we did burgers and it was like, all right, we got to do it for the rest of the year now, Coach. So we were eating freaking burgers the day before Thanksgiving. It's like, guys, like, but that's the stuff, like those moments and just giving up that is what, I mean, it's everything to me, like, because I tell them all the time, like, y'all have a computer in your hands, take as many pictures and make as many memories as possible. Like, I make them, that group, we take a picture, win or lose, after every game. Like, we're together, like, I better see smiles, like, I get it, we're all upset, but you're going to miss these memories, in 4 years. There's always going to be that little bit in your heart, like, fill that void, and you're going to miss that, so take as many as possible.
Yep, those are things they're going to remember, 20 years from now, going over to your house and eating with your family and things like that. Those are special moments.
They've watched my kids grow up, like my kids are 12. Well, they're turning 13 and 8, and they've watched them, like my son idolizes a young man who's going to be a senior this year.
That's
wants
awesome.
to be just like him. Well, he started it 4 years ago, and it's crazy. It just went by like that. It went by like in the blink of an eye.
It goes by so quick.
It does.
I'm coaching a kid this year who's going to be a senior this year. He's going to be a junior or senior. I think he's going to be a senior. That I remember when he was born, I coached his dad at Tennessee. And so he was born his senior year, and I'm like,
Really?
holy moly, I'm old.
See, I'm not getting to that point. I'm getting to the point where friends of mine's kids are starting to come up, and I feel like, man, where did this go? It's been 20 years already. Like,
It happens quick, man.
oh yeah. So you talked a little bit earlier about building those kids, at that young age, and where as they're starting to come in, and you're building them, and having that physical literacy, that pipeline, it's probably made you briefly touched on it, but it's probably made a tremendous difference in their training age and where you're getting them at as a freshman coming in.
It has. And so I left Innsworth briefly for a couple of years to go to Lipscomb Academy to create their fitness and strength and conditioning program. So I implemented a program from K through 12th. And so for the kindergarten through 4th grade, I just called it building a foundation. They're learning to just have fun, starting to follow rules, skipping, jumping, stuff like that. Then middle school, 5th through 8th, I call that sampling the menu. So we take from what they learned in the foundation and just dive deeper into that. And then when they get to 6th grade, we started lifting them. where they're learning the movements, how to pick a bar up, eventually how to clean, how to hinge, how to squat, things like that. And I learned this from Coach Hatch, right? It's you learn the movement with light enough weight, right, to where they're not going to injure themselves. And sometimes when we're teaching our freshmen, a strength coach might walk in and be like, "Oh my gosh, they look terrible, but they're going to hurt themselves," but they're using a bar, right? It's
Right.
important for them to learn the movement with light enough weight that isn't going to injure them, right? That's how you teach them. And we've been wildly successful with it. And we can teach kids how to split jerk, how to snatch, pretty much in a couple of days, right? Not heavy weight, but, they know that pattern and they know that movement because we taught them and we repped it with a weight that's comfortable, that they're not going to hurt themselves.
Yeah.
So we do that starting sixth grade, and then in high school we just called it choosing the path. So they're going to go athletic route or physical education route, right? And so when I got back to Innsworth shortly after, I was able to hire the guy, Jordan, that I was telling you about. And so I really don't have to worry about that lower school portion. He
Right.
handles all that.
They're ready made for you when they walk in.
Yeah, he does a great job.
And that's what a lot of people, you know, Matt, Bruce, and I talk about this all the time. Like, you can teach the clean pretty quick if you
Quick.
just. A lot of people, oh, it's too much to teach. It's too technical. We can't. That's such a cop out. Like, you just don't want to take the time to. You can. I mean, I've taught my own children.
Yeah.
And it's if I can teach them to do it in this short amount of time, then you can teach your group. Like, give you some PVC pipes and some use
Yep.
bars, and you'll be able to. Is it fine tuning? Yeah, absolutely. It's going to take some
Yeah.
time, but those are the two things that over the years that have kind of got me. The one of them is the are you going to throw a bunch of weight on my kid immediately? And like, I would
No.
never do that.
No.
Our middle school groups during the summertime, we get them for 15 workouts basically. They go 2 days, maybe 3 days a week. We kind of end after 4th of July, that week after the 4th of July. We won't put weight on really until that last week of June.
Yeah.
So really, they're only getting about 4 workouts where it's actual weight on the bar.
Yeah.
Because we take our time. That way, when they get to be freshmen in their winter cycle, or when they get to be eighth graders in their winter cycle, it's,
They're ready to
oh,
go.
I know this. I know. The second thing, and I'm sure you deal with this, the girls, am I going to get bulky? Am I going to get,
Yeah.
sweetheart, you don't sleep well enough, you don't eat
Yeah.
well enough,
And you
and
don't-
we have 4 years. You're not going to,
Yeah.
trust me, you're going to get strong, absolutely, but you're not going to get bulky.
And you don't take the illegal substances that
Correct.
you see, right? And so,
It's that doesn't happen overnight, but those are the two things that I just, hammering home, like we said before, the basics and hammering home all that stuff,
Yep.
helping you get there.
And for us, we're fortunate to have 8 people on staff, and we've had 2 girls. We lost one. She left this year to start her own. She just realized that the high school setting wasn't for her. She did a phenomenal job, but both the girls were college soccer athletes. This girl's going to start her own functional nutrition program, online business, and she'll be successful at it because she's great. But it was important for the girls to see that, hey, they were wildly successful in their athletic endeavors, and they're not bulky like the people you see in the magazines and on TV, right? They're
Right.
strong, they're healthy, things like that.
That's what I tell. Yeah, I tell even our female athletes. Mass kicks ass. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, I'm not, because that's one of the harder things. I talked recently about this. The young lady we have going to compete in the North American Championships for powerlifting. I asked her to gain weight this year because
Yeah.
I knew she was going to be stronger, and that's hard to do for a female athlete. But she was
Yeah, it
very
is.
willing, and there's a reason she squatted over 400 pounds at 162. It's.
Yeah.
I asked you to do something uncomfortable, and that's one of our big things is get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable, right?
And it's they get there. That like we said, it kind of when that moment that clicks, like, this is important, it all takes off from there.
I tell them there's no growth without time under tension, right? Whether
Right.
it is mentally, right, studying for a test, whether it's physically, lifting weights, whether it's anything you go through in your life, that time under tension is going to make you stronger and you will grow from that. It's just
Absolutely.
going through it.
Yeah. So you've designed, we got your new weight room, right?
Yes, yes.
20,000 square foot weight room. And I know earlier in your career, you designed a smaller, maybe around 10,000 square foot weight room.
Yeah, at Macaulay, we did a 10,000 square foot weight room. And then at Lipscomb, designed 5,000, close to 6,000 square foot
Yeah.
weight room.
So you've
Yeah.
had three levels of, what's the biggest, difference there in the design process and, realizing with that 5,000 square foot weight room, did I need more or less in the 20,000
Yeah, yeah,
square foot weight
yeah.
or the 10,000? What's the big differences there?
The big difference is the Macaulay weight room and this weight room are similar. Here we have 36 racks, which is important because, like I said, it's part of academic curriculum. And so we can have everybody all appear at once
Right.
if we want to. And so for me, it is that space, right? Having and we only have about 35 to 38 minutes of working time in class. We're 50-minute class. And so we give them 5 minutes to change before, 8 to 10 minutes after if they want to jump in the shower. So it ends up being 35 to 38 minutes. So I wanted to design this weight room where everything they needed was at their rack.
So it's 5 days a week?
Yes.
Okay.
We see them on average 4 days a week
Okay.
because we're on a 7-day rotating schedule, which gets pretty complicated. Probably don't have enough time to go into that. But
Yeah.
it is. We see them on average 4 days a week for all 4 years. And so I wanted to design this weight room where there was the least amount of movement possible. So every rack has dumbbells 5 to 100, kettlebells, med balls, the back half has jammers. Every rack has step up box. Every rack has the landmine attachment. Every rack has the Bulgarian split squat attachment. I used to wrestle, so I looked at it as, hey, if me and you are partners, this is our circle, right? We don't have to
Right.
leave this circle, right?
Yeah.
And so I want them to stay at their rack and not have to wander looking for a dumbbell or things like that.
That's exactly what I did with this one is
Yeah.
what I basically did. Same concept is we have 21 racks,
Uh-huh.
but I took the middle and everything on one side of the room, machine wise, glute hams, lat pull downs, things like that is exactly the same on the other side.
That's cool.
So I don't have to see a kid from group 21, rack 21 going over here by rack one. It's all, but the same concept is I want you to stay at your rack because we can get more done in a short amount of time.
I tried to get them to take the water fountain out of our room so they didn't go get water, but
See,
couldn't do
ours,
that.
ours is in the hallway, which is kind of like, I guess, the negative because that's why I tell them, like, you better bring a water bottle because
That's
I
what
don't
I
want to see
wanted
you
them to do.
going in and out. I hate you seeing you going in and out.
Yep.
And ours is like real big windows everywhere and like they
So
can
is
see
ours.
in from the hallway. I don't know about you. One of my biggest pet peeves is when that second group is peeking through to see what we're doing for the day. It just, I don't know why. Like guys, it doesn't matter. We're gonna do the work no matter what.
Yeah,
Like,
you're gonna do it anyways.
yeah. What are you gonna do? Go home and get a missed day? Like you're gonna do it. So like, what's it really matter? Like, trust me, there's nothing that I'm giving you that I haven't done before.
Yes.
But so what? Like, is there something like? Because there's stuff even in this room, our new room, because this is the first one I've had the blessing to design and kind of be a part of. Is there something that you're like, man, we really didn't need that anywhere, like at any stop?
Probably some of the specialized machines. I wouldn't say we wouldn't need them. We don't utilize them as much.
Right.
One thing I wish we could have done at this weight room is to have lat pull down attachments on the racks. We just couldn't do that because you mentioned earlier, like you'll do lat pull downs one week and then pull ups maybe the next. We do a lot of pull ups. and I'd like to incorporate more lat pull down. So I wish we could have done that at each rack or every other rack. Um, I think variety is key in you're doing the same movement but different
Yeah,
exercise. It keeps it a little more fresh. So
yeah,
I
and
really,
that I'm 100%. That's absolutely the way I think too. But and for our auxiliary movements, one of my big things is, and some people may not like what I'm about to say, but we keep it kind of in that hypertrophy movement year round because
so
these
do we.
kids, it's they love to see themselves gain muscle. You know, they're going to have more buy-in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then
We do too.
I always put like our upper body, especially for our male athletes, because this is what they care about the most, is I put our upper body movements, especially during the summer, at the end of the week because they're more enticed to be there at the
Yeah,
end because
that's
that's
a
what
good
they want to
idea.
do.
That's a good idea. Yeah,
That's what they
yeah,
want to do, and they're going to be there. They're not going to go on, I'll miss Thursday because I got 4 misses. You know, they're not going to do that because, oh, well, we're benching today or we're hitting buys and tries and it's jacked and juicy Thursday. You
yeah.
know, we got to be there.
They don't want to miss that.
No, heck no. So, yeah, a little bit of that. And then there's some stuff I look at that, man, why did we're not utilizing that the way I thought we would. You know, I wish I'd have done this instead, or whatever it is. Like,
We at Lipscomb we had quite a bit of large turf area that we could have done without. I wish I would have added more racks to that. Not
yeah,
that we didn't utilize the turf because we did for warm ups, for bounding, and things like that. We have turf going down the center of our weight room here, which we utilize a lot. We have run rockets, so we might do a squat and then have them do a sprint, right, on the run rocket. Or we'll do sled pushes. Like I said, if you're training a younger athlete, a freshman, where we're pretty much just using a bar, right? Teaching them how to hinge, how to squat, things like that. We can add in a heavier sled push where they're going to develop their legs in a safe manner while
right.
still learning how to squat.
Yeah, no, that is one thing we didn't get was a turf spot. You know, I wish where our turf is, our field is directly like it's 10 feet away from the weight room.
That's cool.
I wish we'd have done a garage door.
Yeah.
That's the one thing and I think we look at the stuff now because this is a one shot thing for us. You know, we've been in this old field house we had since 1982 till this year.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time coming, and there's stuff we look around and we're like, we might have missed right there. We might have missed, maybe we didn't need 6 TVs in here to look at the
Yeah.
workout, or maybe,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe we didn't need these mirrors in here, like,
Yeah.
maybe we, some of that stuff. So, oh, most definitely.
I wish I had more wall space also. That's,
That,
yes.
yeah, I don't have. I'm real big. Well, our biggest for boys and girls. So I do a 225 clean board for the boys for every sport. In our girls, as one, we do a 145-pound clean board.
That's cool.
Well, we had it in the old weight room. Well, right now there's no space in this one. We kind of filled up the walls with, our bands, our we have loadable dumbbells.
Yeah.
Not like the block ones, but the actual loadable barbell ones. So all those are hanging on the wall, and the bands and these big old 85-inch TVs, which are great.
They look nice.
But there's no more space. There's
no
no more
space.
space for anything. So I'm
Yeah.
like, where am I gonna? This board's important, guys. We got to
Yeah.
put this somewhere. So
We're
hopefully,
trying to figure out where we're going to put a record board because we've done an all-time record board, right, for since the beginning of school, and then we'll have a yearly record board. So the top, clean squat, bench, 40, vert, long jump for the seniors, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, right? That just recycles through each year, so they can see where they are in their class.
yeah. And that's again, that to me, that's important for buy-in. I know a lot of people might not agree with that, and they think like, oh, well, y'all don't need that. Well, in this day and age, the kids care about seeing their name up there, and they care about seeing that stuff on social media.
They care about it.
That's what it revolves around. So if that's what it takes to get them to fully commit, then I'm all for it. As much as my phone's constantly ding, 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 ding.
Mine
Like,
just did that too.
yeah,
Sorry.
yep, yeah. No, mine's constant. Just And I'm glad my kid has my phone right now and away from me because I don't have to see the ding, ding. But they love it. And that's what,
Yeah.
like, because I sell to our football team, if we can get 48 guys cleaning 225,
Yeah.
we're a quarterfinal team or better. For
Yeah.
our sheer amount of kids, we
Yeah.
have a ton of. So if we can get 48 guys up there, we're making it to the quarterfinals or better. And every year we've done it, sure enough, we've made it to the quarterfinals or better.
Mm-hmm.
Like last year we had a great year. We had 47 guys. We couldn't get that 48th, and we lost in the second round.
Mm. Yeah.
And so, and they believe it. Like they're like, and I give them, they can do it at any point in the year, but really it matters from June 1st until Jamboree week. Like I give them that long. Like if you can do it, let's do it. So it's important. And the girls, I mean, we went year one when we had the 145-pound clean board. We had 2 girls make it.
Wow.
Now we're at 16.
That's great.
So, and I love seeing our girls sports like, oh, well, softball has this many. Oh, well, basketball has this many. Oh, well, track it.
Yeah.
And I because it just drives home the competitiveness of where they're truly like, this is important.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I love all that. When you talk about it being important though, Coach, and we talk about, we're both in this as the strength coaches of our schools, but some places and kind of what the Moffitt method is about is kind of providing that strength coach to them. And, I know you've talked about this before, but kind of having that sport coach just kind of pick up the whistle part-time, part-time versus a truly dedicated strength coach. It's important to have that.
Yeah.
And not just have somebody out there.
It goes back to where's your focus, right? If I'm primarily a football coach, if I'm going to go do professional development, I'm not going to go to strength and conditioning professional development. I'm going to go to football professional development.
Absolutely.
So it's really like, where's your focus? Where's your passion? If you're not passionate about strength and conditioning, it's going to be miserable for you because it's not an easy career, right? You're getting kids to do things they don't really want to do. You're motivating them constantly. It boils down to where's your passion. If you don't have a passion for it, you're not going to put your 100% into it, right? And where weights are moving, a lot of moving parts, that's where kids can get hurt if you're not dialed in and 100% committed to what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's you got to have that same energy about yourself, I guess, day in and day out, and that's one of the hardest things is having that day in and day out, and kind of
super
wanting to learn and wanting to get better and provide that to the kids. That like you said, it's if you don't care about it and you don't care about learning it, you're gonna be at a standstill. You're gonna reach that plateau.
Gonna be a cone out there blowing a whistle, right?
Yep.
And yeah, it's important, and it's important. Heck, I'll be 49 in August, and it's harder and harder as you get older. That's why I'm always amazed whenever I go visit Moffitt, right? He's still got the energy, right? It's harder and harder as you get older. You realize how much you have to take care of yourself, so you can still provide that energy, whether that's physically, mentally, but you got to really take care of yourself so you can take care of the kids.
He told me he thinks he can do this 10 more years, and I wholeheartely believe him.
Oh, I do too.
I wholeheartedly you can. You're right. You absolutely can.
There's not many people like him.
Heck no. But you talked about taking care of yourself. I've learned over, I guess, again, the older I've gotten, this is I leave work at work. I try and take care of myself. When I'm home, and when I, the weight room's still going to be there.
Yeah.
Work's still going to be there. If I miss one day, and I've done that a little bit, like this is going to be the first summer in my career where I'm actually taking a vacation on a week where it's not our allotted vacation.
Yeah.
It's still going to be there. It's not, me being there. It's kind of running itself at this point, like our head coach can go in there for a week and allow, kind of run the show, and it's going to be okay. And it took me a while to learn that, but that's okay to taking care of yourself is a huge thing.
I've been terrible at that. And I've just recently, realized that that's something I really got to work on, is leaving work at work. And it's important for longevity.
Yeah, I try my
Um,
best. I
so
do.
I've been the worst at it my whole career.
Yeah.
I've just been constant working, and yeah, it's the earlier you can learn that, the better.
Yeah, at the beginning of the summer it's tough, but like I try to, because and really what happened was my kids started getting involved in more.
Hmm.
My oldest plays club volleyball and we're everywhere during that season, and it's like it'll be there. Work will be there forever.
Yep.
Like work will be this is the stuff that I'm gonna miss if
Yeah.
I don't chill out.
Yes, 100%. My daughter just finished her first year of college, and my nephews, I'm really close with them. They're 21 and 24, and I want to see them more, and
Yeah.
want to see what's going on in their lives, and hang out with them because they're awesome people. And so, yeah, it's important to learn that work-life balance.
Yeah, and I don't know how you did it, when your daughter was growing up, but my kid, I try and bring them up here as much as possible with me, just because it's like it's a twofold thing. One,
Hmm.
you get to see older athletes work and how much it takes.
Yeah.
If you're going to become, whatever you decide to do, I don't care if you do sports, art club, join the band, you're going to give it your all no matter what it is. But you get to see that, and you get to see dad at work
Yep.
and see
That's
what I'm doing.
when we were at Macaulay. So she was born at pretty much at Macaulay. She grew up till she was 5 at Macaulay, and we lived on campus. It's a boarding school. And so she was around all the time then, and I absolutely loved it. That's one thing I've missed. A lot of things about Macaulay. It's a special place, um, but Innsworth is home, and I love it. But one thing I missed was my daughter always being around,
Yeah.
right? Like I said, the campuses are separate, and so she wasn't around as much, and I really miss that
Yeah.
because you do work a lot as a
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah. My daughter's been coming up here, and I told her, I'm not waking you up. If you want to come up there and you want to work out with me and you want to be there, like you're gonna have to set an alarm, wake up. And so far this week, the first week of our summer, she's gotten up at 4 o'clock and she's ready to go. And
Wow, that's amazing.
now she's going to sleep earlier earlier than
Yeah.
she does in the school year, because she's like, you can tell at the end of the day she's just it's 7 o'clock. Is it okay if I go to bed? Absolutely.
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely. So
Yep.
we talk a little bit about that and bringing energy, and you talk about the management. I'm sure just like all of us, you're trying to be high energy in there because that
Hmm.
stuff is contagious. Those kids our athletes, they feed off of that. If
Yeah.
you're energetic, they're going to be energetic. If you're down in the dumps and act like you don't want to be there, they're going to be that way.
Yep.
I tell my
100%.
kids, you walk in, you put your blinders on. We're horse racing at this point. We're focused on the finish line. I don't care about your I don't care about your outside problems. I don't care about
Yep.
any of that. I care about we walk in this door, let's put our blinders on.
Yeah.
Have you done it? How are you charging the batteries? How are you making sure we bring that energy every day?
Part of it is, uh, like you mentioned earlier, leaving work at work
Hmm.
and really being present at home, trying to be better at that. The more present I am at home and not worrying about work, the more energized I am throughout the week at work. Part of it is you know going to church, making sure I'm doing those things to get spiritually refilled. And when I do those things, I'm much better at work because I've taken time away from it.
Yeah, Sundays, and that's what the head coach, athletic director I work for. That's his big thing. It's like we'll never work. I know some schools
Yeah,
work on Sundays. I know they do.
we
We
don't.
never
Yeah,
us either, because it's the day before we start the work week again. That's your time with family. That's your time to recharge your batteries. That's your time to, you know, have those moments. And that's
yeah,
what we've always just done it that way. And I love it. That's the big. It helps me too, because I don't try not to bring it home. Like you said, I leave
yeah,
my computer at work. I try to not, like, I'm here now because it,
yeah.
it was here. I'm not. I
Mhm.
didn't do this at home. I try not to.
Yeah. And part of it is, yeah, I'm at work now also,
Yeah.
because I don't want to do it at home. And part of it for me is hiring good people, right? That are going to pick up the slack if you're down a little bit, right? Um, and so we really look at hiring good people first, and then build up around that. And we've been fortunate to have some really good people on staff. Losing, two good ones, one really good one, and they'll be missed. But filling in those spaces with good people.
Right.
We just recently was able to hire who will start Monday, who I think is one of the best strength coaches around, a guy named Tyler Watson, who's
Hmm.
at Butler. He's going to start Monday, um, and he'll be a phenomenal addition to us. Super knowledgeable. He'll probably be my replacement whenever I leave. Um, if they're smart, he will be. And so just hiring good people uh, helps keep your energy up, and helps keep you sharp, right?
Yeah. It
Because
keeps you kind of motivated to kind of
yeah,
keep.
we're holding each other accountable, right?
Right. No, that's great. That's my next step, is trying to get a little bit of help in here.
Yeah,
It's it was always my dream. I'm blessed to be. This is where I went to school at.
that's
This is where I
awesome.
completed high school. So it was always my dream to come back and be the strength coach here, and I get to live that. But we've created such a monster at this point that it's kind of like, all right, I need a little bit of help, and I need
Yeah.
to, the interns that are here for 4 months just aren't,
Hmm.
and I know it's going to take time, but that's I've already been looking, like I need to surround myself with people that are going to keep me sharp, that are gonna I can learn something from, they can learn something from me, and we can really really make this thing grow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you come, I love the energy talk. And I've always believed this. It's a mixture of what you like and what they like. What's a weight room playlist look like for you?
Man, for me, it would be 90s grunge, right? And some of our kids like that. Foo Fighters, Pearl Jam, things like that. That's what I grew up on.
It's funny you bring up the Foo Fighters, because this morning on the way, my daughter's with me, like I said, on the way in, she's like, Papa, can you play that song? And the lyrics are kind of like, "Hello, I've waited here for you ever," and I'm like,
Everlong.
Foo Fighters. Yes,
Everlong.
absolutely, I can
Yeah,
play
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And my youngest is one of his favorite songs is Black by
Yep.
Pearl Jam. And I'm like,
Great.
all right, I'm doing something right with y'all.
Yep. Yep. It's, I was a huge Nirvana fan, so naturally
Hmm.
became a big Foo Fighter fan. But yeah, for me, it would be the 90s grunge, but it's definitely a mix, right? You got
Yeah.
to play what the kids want, and what they're going to get up to. But we also talk about the difference between intrinsic and external motivation, right? There's going to be times where you don't like what you hear, right? But you got to be internally motivated to be able to block the other crap out and do what you need to do, right?
See, I'm going to have to steal that, because I've never explained it that way. I just kind of say, there's no music on the field, guys, like, or on the
Yeah,
court. Like, we
yeah,
can,
yeah,
you can, because I always tell them, I get my kind of group of guys, and they did it different this year. I was kind of impressed by them. I tell them, like, y'all create a playlist, I'll review it, but I'm going to add stuff to it. Like,
yeah.
it has to be a shared thing. And shockingly, like, they created a Google form this year, and they sent it out to all the teams, and they're like, all right, if you want to put a song, put it in, and we'll make sure, and I was really impressed by it. Wasn't just one or two guys making it, they
That's
kind of
awesome.
involved everyone's. So like you might hear something from, your 90s grunge to, you know, George Strait is the very next song, and then you might
Yeah,
hear, local music, you might, whatever it is, and it gets everybody's kind of voice out there, and I love it,
yeah, that's
and they
awesome.
they might hear, and there might be some days where I'm just like, you know what, guys, heck no, like this is just a straight Blink 182 day. I
I
don't care
love
what
some
y'all
Blink
say.
182.
I want to go back to this is
Yeah,
what I want. I want to
yeah,
hear, I want to hear all of that. I want to hear Adam's song. I want to hear, Rock Shot. I just
yeah,
some days it's like that for me, and it allows us to have that different energy level, and just like you, I'm sure you can kind of read the room, and if some of my funk comes on and they might not like it, I'm gonna say, maybe we need to,
Yep.
bring it
Yep.
up a little bit.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So, but I love that part of it. Um, when you talk about your younger kids, we've kind of talked about this and kind of circling back around to that full circle here, how do you keep those kids motivated in there? If they're not the varsity, if they're not the starter, if they're not the
Yeah.
dude, how do you?
It's neat at Innsworth because, like I said, we deal with every student, and whether they play a sport or not. I think them seeing progress, right, is a natural motivator. But especially the kids that don't participate in sports, some of them are going to hate it for all 4 years, right?
Right.
Which is fine. But 99% of the time they come back, and when they visit, they're like, man, I'm so glad I had fitness because I was in a routine, right?
Right.
Of staying active. And so they see themselves creating that routine in college. And we'll have people come back that have taught their friend group how to lift. And their friends are like, man, where'd you learn how to do this? Where'd you learn how to put together a program? How do you know how to do this? And like, oh, my high school did it. And so that's rewarding, and that's a big win when the kids come back and they're like, man, I taught my whole friend group how to lift, right? Or if a kid that goes to play a college sport, they're like, "Hey, my strength coach used me as an example the entire first week, right? I was a demo guy or girl. That's rewarding, right? Because we know we've done our job.
Oh, I love that part of it. I kind of like asking our athletes that are blessed to go on, like, were you ready? Like, did you, not, I guess reassurance for myself, I guess you could
Yeah,
call it, but were you ready? Like, did you, and like, I'll have kids even to this day, like, you helped me kind of be on the fast pace to kind of,
100%.
and I love that. And, it's kind of like, all right, we are doing something right here, whether everybody else believes it or not, or, you know,
Yeah.
and everybody's bought into it. And
Yep.
yeah,
If that
that's,
coach, if that coach is pulling them aside to use them as an example, right, it naturally sets them up to be a leader for that class.
yeah.
I thought I turned my phone off. I guess my. Can
Oh,
you hear
coach, that's
that
no,
beep?
can't hear it at all.
Okay, cool.
Can't hear it at all.
Um, it naturally sets them up to be a leader for that class, right? Because they're gonna start asking him or her questions like, well, what about this? How do you do this? And so it's really rewarding when they come back and tell you that.
Yeah, no, I love that part. And like one of my interns a few years ago was a former player of mine here, and I love when they decide to go into this profession
Yeah.
because there's not a lot of knocking down the door anymore.
No, no,
That
no.
they're, you know, we look at one of our local colleges, their Kines department 5 years ago was over 200 students. Now they're down to like 50.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to do this anymore. But for him to come back, and I begged and begged, like, dude, stay, please stay, please stay. But he's one of those guys that wanted to go on to, collegiate, and I supported him, and
Yeah.
we were able to get him on at Tulane, and he just got hired on as one of the five over there. And I'm like,
Nice.
all right, man, like, yes, like you made it, like, keep it going though, like, don't be satisfied.
It is really neat. The kid not a kid, he's 35, but the guy that we just hired, I kind of helped him get into strength and conditioning. Helped him get an internship with Paul Jackson, and
Mhm.
he interned with the Buffalo Bills when Eric Ciano was there. And so that's really neat. And then one of the strength coaches at Macaulay, I was his strength coach while he was at Macaulay. And the head coach at Macaulay now, I was his strength coach.
No,
Uh,
that's awesome.
yeah, the head football coach, and so it's just neat.
Yeah, no, I got one of those who's a local strength coach now who I was his strength. My first year coaching was his senior year, and
That's
I was a
awesome.
strength coach for that one year, and we just kind of kept that relationship and built it. You don't realize it back then, like you think, teacher, but I was only 4 years older than those kids,
Hmm.
that we could have been in school together.
Yeah,
And now we've just become great friends, and he's a local strength coach out here now. And it's just like, man, I can't tell you how proud I am and how,
yeah,
how great that makes me feel.
yeah,
So, talking a little bit back into the weight room, coach, VBT. Joe Kinn's been on one lately with VBT
yeah.
on social media, which, I kind of love it. But, talk a little bit, is that something that we're using, or are we more
We're
old school fundamentals, or are we?
we're more old school fundamentals. Not that I wouldn't use VBT. We're looking at getting perch. I'd love to have perch because it's just a instant gratification, and the kids are used to that, so they're motivated by that, especially using it on our dynamic days, right?
Right,
Which how fast you can move the bar, but using it completely, right? We might have 5 kids that are strong enough that could actually really, really utilize it,
right.
right? The way it's intended to be utilized. And so we're more fundamentals, right? Now, I would utilize it quite a bit on our dynamic days because that's a motivator. They can see how fast they can move the bar. They can compete with their rack because it is showing them the data immediately.
Right.
So I think there is a place for it as a tool, but we're definitely fundamentals, right? Being great at the basics.
Yeah, that's what we're very fundamentals, and not that same as you, I don't dislike VBT. I
No, I
don't
think it's
know.
great.
Yeah, it has its place. I don't know
Hmm.
enough. I know about it. I don't know enough about it for me to say like we're whole. I've just heard different things.
Yeah.
And one thing that's always stuck with me, I don't know, do you know Gary Frank? Have you ever heard of Gary Frank? He's a big time power lifter.
Yes, I've
Was a
heard,
big time.
I've heard of him. Yes.
Yeah, I talked with him one time, and he's like, and Coach Moffitt and I talked about this before. It's, if you're good enough, you can hear the way the bar's moving.
Oh, yeah, you
That
can.
that you know that okay. But I understand the gratification. I understand the numbers of it, and I guess my fear always with it has been, and again, some people might not like this, and that's okay, is that as a high school kid, we focus too much on that number and not the strength part
Yes.
of the empower part of things. Like we
Well,
focus so much on I got to beat that number, I got to beat that, which is great. But I have kids. We bought timing gates last
hmm
year. Our kids constantly want to, like, they're so obsessed with we got to run a 40, we got to run a 40. Guys, if I told everyone y'all's 40s, you would never get recruited. I'm sorry, you
yes,
just wouldn't. Like if I told everyone like you're true,
you're
like
true
you just,
40.
yeah, it's and I think we lose sight of that sometimes with some of this stuff, and it's great, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, well, it's important in high school. It's like building a house, right? The bigger the foundation, the taller the house, right? And I think our job in high school is to build the biggest foundation possible. So when they move on, uh, especially if they're going to play in college and beyond, they have that foundation to where, you know, they can become a skyscraper, right? And the next strength coach can really build upon that.
Yeah, no, that's and you kind of that is one beauty of it, I guess. And I don't know how prevalent this is in Tennessee. Kids that transfer. It's here and there over here, but you can kind of share that information, and kind of if everybody's on the same page of, and I'm sure at the collegiate level, it's probably a little more prevalent that they're sharing some of that.
Yeah,
What are their numbers? What do
yeah.
their numbers look like, and all that. Um, so, kind of to wrap, I know you got a Friday day off, kind of. I want to let you enjoy that. But you've spoken at national conferences. You've overhauled schools. You've built facilities and all that. At what's next? What's next for Coach?
You
You
know,
got a lot of years left, Coach. You got a lot of.
oof. You know, I'm not really sure, honestly, what's next. I'm just focusing on trying to become a better boss, right? Better employee, a better for my staff, right? Because without them, we couldn't do anything, right? We got a lot of moving parts. So I'm trying to become a better boss, I guess, because I do a lot of delegating now because there's so many moving parts, and I haven't always been good at that. I
Uh,
hadn't been good at that at all, and so I'm really trying to work on that. You know, I'm like I said, I'm excited about the one hire we made because I think he could be my replacement. Whether 5 years from now I decide to do something different or stick around longer, right? I think it's important to have somebody in place that can take over because I love Innsworth. I love these kids and I want to make sure they're taken care of even if I'm not here, right? So, 5 years from now, I'm not sure. I could be here. I could be doing something different, right?
We never know, right? It's all
Yeah,
about
yeah. I'm just
always
focusing on trying to be better in
yeah,
in the moment.
in the moment today, not tomorrow, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's how I'm sure we're all the same way. It's just kind of like I got to keep just chopping wood here and be
Hmm.
where your feet are and
Yeah,
make it happen.
yeah.
With the new facility, did y'all host or have you hosted the state clinic for NHSSCA
We
there?
hosted it 3 or 4 years ago.
The national one.
Yep, the national
Yeah,
one. I think they're talking about coming back
that would be.
at
I
some
missed that
point.
one. Matt
Yeah,
asked me to go with him. That would have been the
yeah,
first one national one I'd have went to, and
yeah.
I forget I just couldn't make it or
Well,
anything.
hopefully it'll be back pretty
Yeah,
soon.
I hope so. We did the state one here this year because I kind of wanted to show off
Yeah.
all the new pretty stuff. So I would
Well,
love for it
it
to
looks
happen.
awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. I mean, in our state, it's definitely the probably premier weight room
Yeah.
now. Other people are starting to build. We're getting real big around here with the covered indoor facilities,
Yeah.
and that's getting a little more prevalent. But as far as weight room goes, and I know I'm biased, it's definitely the premier one in the state.
That's awesome.
So, Coach, I got a few more off the wall questions
All
for you.
right.
They're different things here and there. Just I want our listeners to kind of finish out getting to know you a little bit better. And what is something we've kind of talked music, so we kind of know that '90s grunge is right up your alley. But if we got something that you're gonna sit down, we're reading a book, something whether it's motivational, informational, what's something that you're picking up?
Uh, from a music standpoint or a
Or
book?
book standpoint.
Book standpoint. Oh, let's see. I let's see. I'm reading right now. What is the book I'm reading? I think it's called The God Worth Trusting, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading that, and I just finished reading what's Jocko Willick's book?
I know which one you're talking about. I
Yeah,
bought his kids book for my kids.
that's
The
awesome. I just finished reading that. So that one was really good. And I just finished reading, let me see if I can pull it up. Um, what's the name of that book? Grit was the name of the book.
grit.
And
I think I might.
it was really good. I'm trying to find it right now who wrote that.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. Let me see. Uh,
I think Angela Duckworth maybe is
Angela
the one.
Duckworth,
Yeah,
Grit.
is the one.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. That's the one. That
Yeah.
was really good. That
Yeah.
was really good.
I haven't read it. I've heard a lot of great things about that one.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Yeah.
I'd recommend that.
I'm in the middle of. Have you seen that Admiral McCraven's speech at University of Texas? The Make Your
Yeah,
Bed
I
speech.
have.
Okay,
I
I'm in
have.
the middle
Yeah.
of reading his book, the Make Your Bed book. So
Yep. Yep. Yep.
that's a
That's on my list to read
yeah,
also.
that's a really
Yep.
good one when you get the
Yeah.
chance. Okay, let's ask this. This is my favorite question to ask because I like to get into the mind of, and I'm pretty sure I know where you're going to go with it. But let's say you're stranded on an island and you can get
Uh-huh.
one piece of weight equipment out there, whether that's a functional
Mm.
weight equipment, where we can use it for things, or whether it's true weight equipment we're actually gonna use it to lift. What's
Yeah.
that thing gonna be?
Man. Stranded on an island. So you need shelter, you need food.
Yep.
Uh, man, what could you go with? Probably a tsunami bar, right? They
Yeah.
bend a little bit. I could fish with it.
Yeah. Okay.
I could stick it in the sand, probably make shelter with it.
Yeah.
Probably
That's
something
that's
like
a
that.
first. That's a
Yeah,
first. I haven't heard that one yet, but that
probably
is a
something like
very
that. Yeah,
that's a very good one. That wasn't even on my radar.
yeah,
I've had trampoline before
yeah.
because it was I'm gonna have fun if I'm gonna be stranded out here.
I'm trying to survive, man.
Yeah, that's what it's funny. Like in the mindset of people, we had an athletic trainer on, and she said a battle rope because I can use the rope for other things.
Oh yeah, that's a good one also.
Some were kettlebell because I can, the coconuts and kill
Yeah,
things and
yeah,
use things and cut. I thought I was being smart by saying trap bar because I can. I was thinking in the workout aspect.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I didn't think in the aspect of I need it for survival. But
Trying to survive, man.
yeah, tsunami bar. That's a great one. I never would have thought that. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Coach, look, I can't tell you enough for taking time out of your day. I truly appreciate you. Can you tell, our listeners, I know they can follow Innsworth Fitness, if I'm not mistaken, on Instagram.
Innsworth Fitness on Instagram.
Kind of check out what y'all are doing, and I know you're open to questions for them there and
Absolutely.
allow them to, open book of knowledge, and you've kind of shared some of that with us. But, as far as following you personally, it's Van Vliet, I believe.
I'll have to
I
look,
had it.
man.
I had it, and it's.
I'll have to look. I'm not
I know
on
you- I know you
social
share-
media a ton, but I do whenever people DM me, I get back with them, answer questions. It's Van Vliet _V2.
There you go, y'all. That's where if you can want to find Coach, ask him
Yeah.
some questions. Reach out. He's a wealth of knowledge and
I appreciate that.
years of experience and doing it. And we appreciate you, Coach, and we can't thank you enough for coming on. And I know everybody's going to enjoy this episode.
Well, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. You're doing an awesome job with this, and can't thank Coach Moffitt and Matt. I remember watching Matt train when he was in high school when strength staff would go to Coach Hatch, and I was like, man, I've never seen somebody move the bar that fast before in my life.
Man, I hope he doesn't hear this.
Yeah, I know. But they've been great, and just appreciate y'all a bunch.
Absolutely, Coach. We appreciate you. Thanks again for coming on.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Y'all can listen. Y'all can listen when our episode comes out with Coach. Hopefully it's within the next few weeks when we get it done. And we can't thank him enough for coming on. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on all of our social medias. That's Instagram, Facebook, and we also have Twitter. And also be sure to get onto our website. We post in daily blogs and weekly blogs to talk about strength and conditioning and your needs for strength and conditioning.
That's a wrap on another episode of the Moffitt Method Podcast. We hope you found today's discussion enlightening and empowering as you continue your journey in sports and strength and conditioning. Before you go, make sure to follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where we share more tips, behind-the-scenes content, and updates on upcoming episodes. Just search for Moffitt Method Podcast and hit that follow button. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite listening platform. That way, you'll never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd love it if you could leave us a review or share this podcast with a friend. It really helps us out. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, the key to success is just one more workout away. Until next time, stay strong and stay inspired.